Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Shelby, and here is her story. Hi, Ollie. Your channel has been a lifesaver. I've managed no contact this time for a week, I think. Every time it gets hard, I watch one of your videos, and even though it gets me kind of depressed, it keeps me from responding to his text. Quick background. I'm 62, and I think my mom is mildly borderline. But let me be clear, my parents made lots of mistakes, but no way was my childhood not loving and supportive. I realized that especially listening to these stories. So I was lucky. I was married for 18 years. Maybe the ending of that will be an email for another time. Then I dated a man while raising and putting my kids first for another 10 or so years. I left him because I realized I just didn't love him enough and we weren't a good match, although he was a good, honest, and loyal man. And no, I don't regret leaving him, but I do know what a basically good relationship should look like because I've had them. So a couple years later, I had moved from California to Georgia. My kids are raised and making their own lives, and I met a nurse who was caring for my dying ex-father-in-law. By the time we started dating, I had known him in the work setting for nearly a year. I could tell his coworkers didn't quite love him, but the patients and their families sure did. Did I mention empathetic? Ha ha. Or as I later would throw in his face, only empathetic when he was paid for it. I'm not going to do the blow by blow, but maybe hearing he left me alone at my house one evening after I slipped down my porch stairs walking him out to his truck. I broke my foot. He freaking said I could drive myself to urgent care in the morning. When you really need them, that's when they show you who they really are. You're always there for them. And this is a nurse, mind you. I mean, that should have been a glaring red flag. Like, this guy is a nurse and he's all empathetic with, but like you said, only when he's paid. And I don't even think not only when he's paid, nobody's around who's giving him those adulations. I'm in the country, 15 miles from town. This from Mr. Nurse Decorated Fireman Paramedic. He returned to his career with the fire department recently. My daughter calls as he's leaving. Hears my voice. I tell her I broke my foot. But she figures out Michael is leaving. Well, if you're 62 and he's returning to the fire, so he must be a few years younger than you, I'm gathering, because I don't think you're returning to the fire department in your 60s. She flips out, of course. I did raise normal children, haha, but I freaking lied to her. I told her I insisted he go, as he would have had a pile of driving to make it a late night, and he had to be on the job early in the morning. I drove myself, and yes, it was broken. That's not the biggest story. That would probably be when he deserted me visiting my younger daughter and her husband, who live in Ireland. He disappears one night, comes back 4 hours later, raging drunk, screaming nonsense, and just leaves. More details, but that's the gist. But truly, by the time that happened, I was getting numb. For me, for my heart, the worst was when he blindsided me by pretending to move a young woman in with him as a roommate. Of course, I'd never even raided a key because he didn't trust me enough. Later, his friends told me it was because he needed to get even because I was earning some money by letting two young friends keep their horses on my property. It was a 30-year-old man and his girlfriend. Irrational jealousy was crazy. The irrational jealousy was crazy. And listen, a narcissist are always tallying up the score. Always. I am going to rip that bell right off you if you don't stop it. This is his new thing. When he wants to eat, he rings his bell. Wonderful. You got another hour. There are a zillion stories. I truly didn't get how hopeless he was. I kept believing the have faith in him bullshit. Let's see. It came out He was also trying to make it work with his ex-wife. He bought a house and truck, etc., with no word to me. He bullied a bunch of money out of me by doing work here and hiring his friends to rebuild my property. I could go on and on. Sounds like he's just a gigolo. And if he's a few years younger than you, you were probably targeted by this guy. Nurses are real good, especially late care nurses. They're real good at assessing who has money and who doesn't. It's a skill they get by being around so many end-of-life people. You get a sense, you hear the conversations, and you get a nose to who to go after for money. I feel unbelievably stupid, I think, because I had no experience in these kind of assholes. I just really didn't get it. I was more in love than I had ever been in my life and thought that I counted for something. I also made a horrible mistake just jumping in the bed with them. I've never done that shit and frankly kind of regretted that I hadn't. I figured I'd be wild before I died. This is a warning about how stupid that is, because as soon as his skin was touching, I swear to God, I felt an instant bonding. And I did mention he calls himself a Christian and was a pastor who had his own church and had his own church, got 10 years. I'm fairly safe from flying monkeys because this is a small town of his family and none of them like him too much. The only people he's sent to do his bidding are new acquaintances, and they tend to disappear after a bit. I heard all the lines. His exes were crazy. I'm crazy. Too sensitive. He was joking. I just don't understand him. He needs a special woman. We're all liars. What more do I want from him? When I called a plumber, a horseshoer came out. Even UPS. It was called inviting strange men into my home. Oh, he was looking out for competition. We seriously fought all the time because I will never be a woman that can be convinced the sky is green. I call out crap by name. Even when I began to figure out his actual problem, I couldn't figure out why me. I thought that might mean he really wanted to change. His exes were Stepfords, and no man who behaves like this has ever been attracted to me. I still don't know why he wants me, but even when you are strong and can always see reality, a person like this will kill you. I'll tell you how. Because you had regret in your life about not being on the wild side, and, deep down, I guess you always kind of wanted like an asshole, a bad guy, a bad boy. And you got it, and you kind of got a taste of it, and you're caught up with the idea of who you thought he was and not who he actually is. And he could read all of that. Listen, you're a little older, divorcee, okay, who's looking to kind of sow her wild oats a little bit. You are this type of gigolo narcissist who is good at spotting people with money and people who can do for him under the guise of being an empath and a caregiver and all this other great stuff. You are his prime target. That's how he got you. A thing I notice he does, which I would love your comment on. Very, very early on, I admired one of those Victorian fainting couches at the flea market. A week later, I go to his house and he has one. He's reading you. Okay. I'm thinking, oh no, too big a gift early in the relationship. But no, he had bought a woman's piece of furniture for himself. I remember I was grateful he didn't realize I thought it may be a gift for me, but also how strange it was. No, that's not why he bought it. No. He's just him trying to think you're on the same level. That's him. You're overreading that. He didn't buy that for you, even though I could see why you thought that. He bought that so you could see what a sensitive guy he is and how you guys have the same tastes. It's just a manipulation that you read wrong. That's why he bought that. It's an act. He's a gigolo. He's playing a game. It's all about what you can give him or what you can do for him. Or I mention I love camping, he buys a trailer. I have no idea until he's out camping with it overnight. This is the man I talk with every day. Somehow we've never gone. I mention I love German Shepherds and he will get one after my old dog dies. Soon after, he bought himself 2 pubered German Shepherd pups. As usual, no mention to me, though it involved a 6-hour round trip down near Orlando. There's more, but what the fuck is up with this? I would appreciate your insight. What he's doing is he's trying to make it like, I'm your perfect guy. I'm into everything you want. Your dogs, your camping. You're just not good enough to get it all. That is the proverbial carrot at the end of the stick that you will never get. That is him puffing out, peacocking, I'm Mr. Perfect. I'm into everything you are, but you just won't give it to you because X, Y, and because you don't do this, you don't do that, you disagree with this, you don't do that. It's a control mechanism. It's why you got you all screwed up in the head. This is all an act. It's not real. None of it is real. He's after your money. I guarantee it. He's after what you can give him. If you're on a property where people are boarding houses, you got property, he's seeing dollar signs. This is a guy who deals with people who are aging end of life. He knows this stuff. He hears it. He hears the conversations with his patients and the families and all that other stuff. He's the true definition of a grifter, a gigolo. That's what he is. And all of these things are as his subliminal messages to you. We're into the same things. Look how perfect I am. You just can't get them because you're not good enough. And you'll never be good enough, Shelby. You'll never be good enough. It is a game for him to bleed you dry with. And that's all he's looking out of it for you. He ain't emotional. He don't give a shit about you. The second you needed him, you broke your foot. He's a fucking nurse. He was gone. He was gone. And I will tell you this guy could be dangerous. Because you are 62. And he might feel you're not entitled to it. This is the type of guy that ends up killing somebody for money. Black Knight, Black Widow. Seen it. That's it for now. I hope it wasn't too long. He texted me a while ago and I went into total anxiety, so I took that as a sign to write this. You are welcome to use my first name, and his for that matter. I refuse to hide this crap anymore. Thank you, Shelby. Well, Shelby, you need to stay away from him because he's only after your money. Okay? You have a conversation about something you're into, he goes out and buys it. But he don't let you use it. To make it look like I'm your perfect guy, okay, there must be a problem with you why this doesn't work or what. And it's not. He's dangling the carrot at the end of the stick. That game never gets old for the narcissist. The proverbial carrot at the end of the stick. Narcissism 101. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution, Shelby, and your story. I hope this helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it growing, supported, and surviving, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.